So a new development has come up in the Gurpatwant Singh Pannu assassination controversy. You would remember that just about a year ago, America had shared intelligence suggesting that members of the Indian government, in particular an official named CC1 in American government documents, was perhaps responsible for orchestrating an assassination attempt on the life of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who is, of course, the head of Sikhs for Justice, an extremist Khalistani group. He is an American citizen, and this assassination attempt, such as it was allegedly being planned on American soil at the behest and at the direction of an Indian government official. Now, news has just come in today that the Indian government, which had put in place an inquiry committee after America had shared intelligence about CC1 and this potential involvement of an Indian government agent in the killing of in the assassination attempt against Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. An inquiry committee was set up after that to look into the allegations raised by America, and now that inquiry committee has submitted its report to the Indian government, and it has said that it will be recommending action against one individual for links to criminal enterprises. I will just read directly from the statement that has just come up from the Ministry of Home Affairs on PIB, basically saying that the inquiry committee has conducted its own investigations and also pursued leads provided by the US side. It received full cooperation from US authorities, and the two sides also exchanged visits. Also going on to say then that after a long inquiry, the committee has submitted its report to the government and recommended legal action against an individual whose earlier criminal links and antecedents also came to notice during the inquiry. The inquiry committee has recommended that legal action must be completed expeditiously. So this is what the government of India is saying, that a high-level committee was set up in November 2023 after America shared intelligence that an Indian government official may have been involved in the plot to kill Gurpatwant Singh Pannu on American soil. Now, legal action has been recommended against one individual. We're of course not exactly clear who this person is, but of course the fingers are pointing towards, or the evidence is pointing towards CC1, the Indian government official who was indicated for the first time in American government documents in terms of a court indictment that was put out. Remember, this news broke in November 2023 after a piece in the foreign media, specifically the Financial Times, about this case. Later, it was revealed by the Washington Post, of course, in its reporting, that the individual in question being looked at, CC1, was in fact a gentleman by the name of Akash Yadav, who used to be, at least, part of the research and analysis wing, was a former member of the CRPF, the Central Reserve Police Force. That was their reporting, and had after that been transferred back, and now is no longer part of government service. That was also something that that the Indian government said in this case. So again, the Indian government is saying with this statement that there was in fact something to the allegations raised and the evidence provided by the US government in this very, very sensitive diplomatic case. Remember that the US government, after this news, after putting this together, and of course coming up with these allegations, went to the Indian government at very, very high levels, including through the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, expressing their absolute requirement that India would do something to counter, to investigate the matter thoroughly. That therefore the High-Powered Enquiry Committee was set up. There were top-level meetings between the US side and this High-Powered Enquiry Committee, which has led us to exactly this pass, where we now have one person who has been in some senses charged for what has happened here in this Pannu assassination case. You might remember some of the salient details, if I could recall, was that CC1, or we're going with Vikas Yadav, of course, in this particular case, but an Indian government official worked with an individual by the name of Nikhil Gupta, an Indian national who was trying to coordinate a hit on Gurpatwant Singh Pannu on American soil. Nikhil Gupta then approached an undercover American agent to carry out this assassination, and subsequently was arrested in the Czech Republic and then extradited to the United States of America to face charges for this involvement in this murder for hire plot. In the course of that investigation, the American side picked up a large amount of electronic information and so on and so forth, suggesting that Nikhil Gupta was in touch with someone in the Indian government. That was what was on a lot of those investigative documents, text messages, pictures, so on and so forth, which also in some senses linked to the assassination attempt against Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the assassination, of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. This established a link because apparently a picture was also sent by this Indian government official, allegedly, to Nikhil Gupta after the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, suggesting somehow that the Indian government is also involved in that hit, and it is also that revelation has also reportedly played a factor in India's diplomatic tensions with Canada on the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar as well. So this is a very, very significant development coming from the Indian side after completing a probe that in fact there is something to the allegations that the United States raised. The question is, where do the two sides move from now? The Biden administration, with which India has been working throughout all of this time, has of course signaled how seriously it's taken this issue. It has also said in the past it is very satisfied with the way India has dealt with the issue on its own side. And now we will have to see whether this will lead to the issue being put to rest, because now you have the Trump administration coming in. Will the Trump administration look at something like this and say, look, India has completed its investigation, it has found an individual responsible for this, it will take legal action, and that is as far as the matter needs to go. That is that would undoubtedly be the hope of the Indian government, and the Trump administration, hopeful of maintaining good ties with India, will not really want to push this case beyond a particular point now that India has conducted a full inquiry and has found one individual, in fact, linked to criminal activities in this regard. So that is where we are at this point in time. We are also currently unsure as to what the reaction of the American government will be. Presumably, of course, as we know, the White House as well as the State Department put out numerous press briefings throughout the day. Presumably, the State Department and the White House will have something to say about this in the coming day or two, which we will keep an eye out for and keep you updated here on India Today Global. But at this point in time, there is legal action proceeding in the United States. There will also be then legal action in India against the individual in question, who again the Indian government has clarified no longer works for the government of India. That is where the matter is at this point in time. But again, showing in some senses on the Indian side that actually India is a democracy that can take accountability for a lot of these issues, or an intelligence operation gone wrong, or whatever this was in terms of the involvement of an Indian government official. That a lot of this picture is unclear, but what does seem clear is that India, presented with evidence and a reasonably friendly-minded government, will of course work together with that government to ensure that a reasonable inquiry is conducted. Once an inquiry is conducted, action will be taken on the basis of that. So that's where we are at this point in time. As and when more details come up about Vikas Yadav, about CC1, about what specific legal action the Indian government intends to take, how exactly this will go forward, and how the United States, very importantly, will react. All of that remains to be seen at this point in time. But of course, leaving you with this top headline that Vikas Yadav, also perhaps CC1, the person identified in a lot of media reporting as the person responsible for trying to coordinate a hit on the life of Pannun Singh Pannu, a noted extremist in support of the Khalistani cause on American soil. Of course, that plot is unmasked, and now a high-level inquiry committee from the Indian government submitting its full report and saying that action against one individual must be taken. Of course, the committee does not make clear the name of the individual that it will take action against, but based on the reporting and the information that we have right now, that seems that seems a likely conclusion to draw. But this is not the final word on this particular issue. As and when we get more information, we're going to get straight back to you. Thank you so much for watching India Today Global and for joining us on this breaking news story.